11, can you tell me?
Sure. A positive mental
Attitude.
definiteness of
Perfect.
going the extra.
My.
That's my 5-year-old granddaughter, Anais, helping me memorize Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone's 17 Principles of Success. Their book, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, became my guiding light last year. But I want to start my story all the way back in 1956, when I'm just about my granddaughter's age. My name is Joyce. I'm 6 years old, and I'm a Pisces. Our symbol is 2 fish swimming in opposite directions. That's just like my brain. Part of my head I call flow. I am the peaceful and cooperative part of Joyce. I encourage her to get along so she can achieve and be productive. I love it when Joyce goes with the flow, just like my name. The rest of me, I call Sam. Hey, Flo, did you know that salmon swim upstream? I like it when Joyce makes her own rules and does things her way and goes against the tide. If Joyce wants to make a mark in the world, she needs to listen to me. I'm Sam. I'm in 1st grade, and my very favorite thing is singing as loud as I can. My best friend Vivian and I live in the same trailer park. We race out on the playground at recess so we can get to the swings. We pump as high as we can and yell, "Turn on the radio! Principal Nick, we want to be in the talent show." I'm sorry, girls, but no 1st graders allowed. But that's not fair! We want to sing! Well, we do hear you girls practicing every day at recess. Perhaps we can make an exception this one time. Yay! Mom, do you like our song? Oh, can't you sing something more appropriate, Joyce Ann? But we like this song. I know you belong to somebody new, but tonight you belong to me, just a little old me. People clapped so loud for Vivian and me. It was really fun. It's also fun to get boys down on the field and kiss them. You're a little boy crazy, Joyce. Oh, who cares, Flo? You know what I'm going to be when I grow up? I'm going to be an actress. I just hope I'm not too late, because Shirley Temple's already doing it. Mom, may I take acting lessons, please? Joyce Ann, you girls are already taking ballet, toe, tap, and acrobat. You know, Joyce, you'll get smacked if you say anything, but who asked to take any of those other classes? Glissa, arabesque, 1, 2. Glissa, arabesque, 1, 2. I'm now in 2nd grade, and it's a super hot day in Detroit where we live. As usual, Mrs. Johannes is really crabby. Everyone, return from lunch on time, and no monkey business. You know, Joyce, I think it's stupid to make kids wear long pants when it's this hot outside. That's what I thought, Sam. Hey, you guys, I don't think we'll get in trouble if everybody changes at lunch. Wow! Everybody came back from lunch wearing shorts. Uh-oh. Mrs. Johannes looks crabbier than ever. Joyce, everyone says this was your idea. Report to Principal Nick and explain yourself. I wish Principal Nick could have punished me at school. Instead, he called my mom. She's super mad. Joyce Ann, you think the rules don't apply to you? You're grounded. I could hear everybody at the racetrack behind our trailer laughing and having fun. They were riding the go-karts that my dad built. But when everybody's outside, I would go back to Mom and Dad's room and stand in front of the mirror and sing, "Young love, first love, filled with true devotion." Oh, Joyce, there's no privacy in the trailer, so of course you would prefer to practice singing when no one else is home. In 1960, we moved to Indiana. I was 10, but my sister turned into a teenager. One day she told me her stupid plan. "Joyce, I read in a magazine that teenagers can be terrible. I'm going to be the worst one ever." Now, Joyce, doesn't Pam realize that everyone's life will be better if we all get along and cooperate? Oh, I have no idea, Flo. Another day, she told my mom one of her other weird ideas. "Girls, let me see those report cards." "Pamela Puanani, these grades are unacceptable." "C's are good enough for me. This school is boring." "Mom, I don't think it's boring at all. Look, I made the honor roll for the first time." "Pamela, improve those grades or you're grounded." You see what happened there, Joyce? In this family, messing up gets you more attention than doing well. If you want people to notice you, you better find that someplace else. Even Flo knows that. Oh, stop causing trouble, Sam. Joyce needs to always do her best, especially now that they're moving to Europe. In the middle of 5th grade, right after I turned 11, the Army transferred my dad to Germany. So Mother took my younger brother Gary and my sister Pam and me, and we went on a ship across the Atlantic to join him. We studied German language records so we'd know some vocabulary, and when I went to school, kids asked if my mother was German. No, she's Japanese Hawaiian. When I was in 7th grade, I went to the library to research my astrological sign, Pisces. The book said, we're compassionate, artistic, and musical. But it also said, we like to escape reality and often become drug addicts or alcoholics. That sounded more like my sister Pam. When I was in 8th grade, Pam got a new boyfriend, Jimmy. Mother was not pleased. Pamela, what kind of boy gives you a switchblade for Christmas? You probably need it to protect yourself from him. Even after that bizarre gift, Pam kept hanging around with Jimmy. One night, my parents and brother and I were out visiting with some friends when a neighbor, Emily, called. Hannah, I hate to interrupt y'all's card game, but is Pam babysitting in our building tonight? Yes, Emily, is everything all right? Well, I hate to be a tattletale, but I saw Jimmy come into the building a while ago, and I didn't see him leave. You're kidding me. We'll be right there. When Mom arrived, Pam was drunk, so she took her to a doctor to make sure she hadn't been raped. Pam continued to torment my parents all through her teen years. Oh, it was difficult watching your parents deal with your delinquent sister. Because Pam was out of control, my parents tried to keep a tight grip on me. Dad was traveling a bunch for work, so one day I sat Mom down and told her how to parent me. Okay, well, Sam laid it out for her. Listen, Mom, Joyce does the dishes, cleans the house, and maintains a B average, but you and Dad won't let her go to the movies or the teen club with her friends. Now, you need to start trusting Joyce, or she's just going to ask to go places she knows she'll say yes to, and then she'll go wherever she wants, and you won't know where she is. Ha! So Sam kind of set Mom straight. The truth is that about the time I turned 13, Mom pretty much let me go wherever I wanted. Permission to hang with your friends, just at the moment when you have none. Dad just got transferred back to his home state, so it's Indiana for high school, Joyce. Thanks for the warning, Sam. I was depressed about leaving Germany in the middle of the school year. Oh, yes, Joyce, it was difficult changing schools as a teenager, but your parents were finally able to afford their own home, and your family moved into their own tri-level just as you entered 9th grade. Yeah, well, 9th grade was pretty much a bust. Mom wouldn't let you go see the Beatles at the Indiana State Fair, and you didn't get elected cheerleader at your new school. Oh, who cares, Sam? I just met the cutest boy. We are in this patriotic group called Up With People, and we go on buses all over the place singing, "If more people were for people, all people everywhere, there'd be a lot less people to worry about, and a lot more people who'd care." Oh, Joyce, I hope Mom lets you go to the Up With People leadership camp where you've been invited. Joyce Ann, those people probably just want to brainwash you. Maybe it's a cult. You're not going. But Mom, did you ask Dad if I could go? I'm not bothering your father in Vietnam with something this ridiculous. You know, Joyce, it's a little weird. Your dad's a lieutenant colonel in the Army, but he's a pretty mellow guy. That mom of yours is more like a kamikaze pilot. And who's got time for Up With People anyway? Mom ordered you not to try out for cheerleading again. You did it anyway, and you got elected. Way to go, kid. Oh, congratulations, Joyce, on becoming a varsity cheerleader for the Warren Central Warriors in your senior year. WCHS, Warriors fight, Warriors fight, Warriors fight. I finally picked my college for next year when I found out they had 7 men to every woman. I asked my high school counselor, Mr. Bass, to enroll me at Purdue University. I can't really see you at Cal College, Joyce. Purdue graduates a lot of farmers. But Mr. Bass, did you see that male-female ratio? Sign me up! Ah, college. You were immediately cast as a manic-depressive inmate in the hugely successful production of Marat Sade. Your collegiate dramatics career was happening. Oh, hell yes. Joyce was also offered pot, hashish, mushrooms. It was a chance to dive into the 60s counterculture, but Joyce was such a wuss. Oh, Joyce, your answer did leave them speechless, but it was the correct thing to say to people tempting you to take drugs. Remember, you are a Pisces, and they often become drug addicts or alcoholics. Hey, Joyce, want to get high? No, thank you. I'm high on life. You're lucky they let you keep your teeth. I wanted to punch your lights out every time you said that lame shit. Other priorities, Sam. We were marching to protest the Vietnam War and university policies. Uh-oh. Dad called. Dad never calls. Joyce, we didn't send you to college to have you out there acting stupid. But, Dad, the state legislature raised the tuition. We're trying to get them to rescind the fee increase. What are you talking about, Joyce? You don't pay your tuition. You just need to stay in that dorm and study. Why aren't you taking computer classes anyway? That was the most depressing thing my father could have said to me. If he thought there was a chance in hell that I was interested in computers, I realized he didn't know anything about me. Oh, Joyce, Dad had been in Vietnam for a year. He didn't realize that you had decided to study acting and theater. You're also getting a teaching credential, and you're working part-time at a record store. You're doing great. Thanks, Flo. It's now sophomore year, and I just met Gesualdo, the man of my dreams. Sexy Gesualdo and I just crossed the line. He wrapped those long, bowed legs around me and blew my 20-year-old mind. Ah! Oh, Gesualdo, I don't know what I was waiting for. I didn't want to get pregnant like my sister, so I just never had sex, but that was just fun. I'd like to do that as often as possible. Well, Joyce, I can help you with that. From the minute Gesualdo and I met, we were inseparable. Thanks for hanging out while I play piano, Joyce. It's my favorite thing in the world, but my high school girlfriend got pissed when I played. Well, Gesualdo, you do get lost in the music, so maybe she was jealous. Personally, I think it's seductive as hell. Oh. So, Gesualdo and I just started sleeping together, and we're about to be separated for 8 weeks. He's going to be a hiking counselor in the Southwest, leading campers into Mexico, and I'm headed to Wisconsin to be a creative dramatics counselor, and I'm going to watch girls go on canoe trips into Canada. We're barely on the same continent. But that trip to Minong, Wisconsin and Camp Birch Trail altered the rest of my life. One night, another counselor, Becky, asked me to come to her cabin after dinner. Joyce, I have something I think you'll like. I want to come into town with you. I want to turn you on to marijuana. Well, Becky, I guess, but I can't imagine that I'll actually like it because my sister smokes cigarettes and she's super thin, and I've tried smoking several times so that I could lose weight, but I can never really get the hang of it. Oh, no, Joyce. Marijuana is illegal, and you are a good citizen and a vulnerable Pisces. Stay strong. Don't listen to that killjoy. It's about time you let down your hair and had some real fun. Becky and I walked into town. We sat on the bleachers of the Ball Diamonds. She took out a joint, lit it, and took a deep drag. Hold the smoke in your lungs, Joyce. Becky, it smells so sweet. We watched the sun go down as we smoked that first joint. I was thirsty, so we walked into town to the bar. Check you out, girlfriend! You're high! Let's do this every chance we get. Now, Joyce, you made a big mistake today. You get back to that camp and inspire those young girls looking to you for guidance. Chill out, Flo. I ordered a tab. The diet soda tasted particularly sweet. My head was beautifully fuzzy, As I sat cross-legged on the ground in front of the jukebox, I grabbed a napkin and wrote this poem. So slowly the book of matches was offered, and its sparkling cover was attractive. I opened the book and saw your crimson heads with their temporarily rigid bodies. So I plucked you from your package and struck you against the surface of your outer self, and you generated within me such a warmth. You glow. Wow! Gag me with a fork. Oh, but hey, now you and Gesualdo will have even more in common. Sam's right. 1 year and 1 month after our first date, Gesualdo and I were married. March 20th, 1971, on John Lennon and Yoko Ono's anniversary. Oh, it was exotic Hawaiian flowers from Auntie Hazel, and you and Gesualdo exchanged original vows. Wasn't it grand, Sam? Well, my idea made the day. Way to ignore your mom's complaints and singing that John Lennon song to each other, Joyce. Oh, it was beautiful. But at only 21 years old, and with very little drinking experience, Joyce, I'm afraid that ordering Singapore slings was a bad idea. You dreamt that you were at your in-laws in the pink-tiled bathroom when, oh, I can't say it. You peed the bed, Joyce, on your wedding night. Woo-hoo! You just dragged Gesualdo over to the dry spot in the huge bed at the Hilton honeymoon suite and passed back out. Kind of a warning of things to come, don't you think? Hey, nobody's perfect, Sam. So, we were married on a Saturday and back in class at Purdue on Monday. We waited 18 months before we took our honeymoon. Oh, that honeymoon was 2 months on the islands of Oahu, Kauai, and Maui. It was camping on beaches, staying with Mom's family, and a week at Auntie Annie's mountain house. Yeah. It was also all the sex you can manage and skinny dipping at Kauai's nude beach and battling to get a cocktail because your mom's family was a bunch of non-drinking Mormons. We returned to the mainland, jobless. Gesualdo wanted to be a musician and to own a record store. Oh, Sam, weren't they the perfect hippie couple with his musician and her acting ambitions? Joyce became the assistant box office manager at the Indiana Repertory Theatre. They shared a house with brother Gary and his girlfriend, and Gary and Gesualdo worked at the record wholesaler in town. Oh, what fun times. One afternoon, Gesualdo and I went down to the record wholesaler to meet with the owner, Scotty. Joyce, there's a head shop on the east side called the Golden Door. They want to put records in their back room. I don't want to hassle it, but maybe you guys can check it out. That location was perfect for us. It was right down the street from Fort Harrison, where Gesualdo and I were married, and near my old high school. We immediately went back to meet with Scotty again. Here's a check for $5,000. Open a checking account, decide on the name, and get the store open as soon as possible. This sounds too good to be true. This doofus is going to let you manage his record store? Scotty trusted them, Sam. We got busy right away. My dad helped Gesualdo build the record racks, and before you knew it, I was asking, honey, Can you please ask Scotty when he's gonna start paying you? We really need the money. Scotty, sorry to bother you, but I wondered when I'm gonna get my paycheck. Well, Waldo, you and Joyce want the store? Well, yeah, we love the store, Scotty, but Joyce and I don't have any money. Don't worry about it. Just buy your records from my warehouse and pay me back sometime. What the hell? This guy just gave you a record store? No contract, nothing in writing? What's the catch? Oh, Sam, some people are simply kind, generous, and full of faith. Scotty was one of them. My brother Gary came to work with us at the store. We named it Wonderwall after an obscure psychedelic George Harrison film. We had a 6-month lease with the Golden Door, and as our lease ended, the owner of the Golden Door, Bobby, asked me to go for a ride with him in his big white Cadillac. Oh, Bobby, thank you so much for letting us start our store in the back of your shop, but we're not really comfortable staying without a new lease. There ain't gonna be no new lease, Joyce. This is my side of town. I have no idea what that means. But I promise you, we won't stay without a new lease. Bobby drove me back to the Golden Door, and Wonderwall relocated to a vacant store in the same strip mall the day our lease ended. Hey now, wasn't this just about the time you stopped taking birth control pills because they were giving you bad vibes? How'd that work out, Joyce? Oh, and then you consulted that literary masterpiece, The Happy Hooker. And you made that keen decision to junk Gesualdo's bones anyway. Oh, you and Gesualdo had a beautiful blue-eyed baby girl and named her Kiri Kealoha in honor of her great-grandmother. You took Kiri with you to the Wonderwall shop, where she nursed as you rang up Wonderwall customers. One dark night, about a year later, I was leaving our new store to drive the trash back to the dumpster. As I slid behind the wheel, I saw a sedan come screeching across the parking lot and slam to a stop outside the Village Pantry convenience store. This car was headlights to headlights with a big white car that was parked facing out. I saw somebody coming down the sidewalk toward the white car just as 2 men jumped out of the sedan with guns blazing. I slumped down behind the wheel, but I saw Gesualdo coming out of Wonderwall with Kiri toddling behind him. Get back in the store, Gesualdo! Somebody's been shot! Remember how shocked you were that was Bobby's ass on the sidewalk? I can't believe you didn't know he was a junkie drug dealer, Joyce. Even Flo knew what was happening. Bobby went to jail, and the Golden Door went kaput. Now, you and Gesualdo faced a moral dilemma. Wonderwall customers expected smoking paraphernalia to be sold at this shopping plaza. Their nearest alternative was a competing record store down the street. It didn't feel good selling bongs and roach clips and rolling papers. Oh, wah, wah, wah. You made a killing on that crap, Joyce. You had that cornball slogan, Wonderwall, where you can afford your music habit. So you didn't make squat on the music. Oh, yes, you and Gesualdo believed that music was a necessity of life, just after food and air. Paraphernalia saved your bacon, Joyce. Eventually, we also sold vibrators, thumb cuffs, and dicks on a stick in white or dark chocolate. We sold all of these items in a separate back room that the regulars called the Smoke and Poke. We were also a concert ticket outlet, so people came to buy concert tickets and we had a steady flow of customers coming through our door. I recorded all the voiceovers for the new vinyl releases.
Get Elvis Costello's My Aim Is True on Columbia Records and Tapes, now on sale at Wonderwall, East 42nd and Post. Wonderwall, where you can afford your music habit.
So, I kept my toe in performing. But we were so busy that for the first 3 years, we didn't have time for a vacation. Finally, Gesualdo and I took Kiri and went to West Virginia, where he helped his best friend build an outhouse on his property. The sound of crickets was deafening to me, and I was determined that when we got back, I wanted to move to New York and finally become a working actress. In the car on the way home, Gesualdo and I had the talk. Gesualdo, you said that we could move to New York as soon as the store was on its feet. Wonderwall's doing great. In fact, Karma Records offered to buy our store. Let's sell it and move forward with our plans. Joyce, we have a house, a store, and a child now. I'm not really comfortable leaving everything in Indiana to move to New York. Staring out the window, broken-hearted and disappointed, you made the profound decision, Joyce, to stay. You knew you loved your husband. You decided to have another child so Kiri would have a playmate. We got pregnant right away. Gesualdo and I also returned for master's education classes at Butler University. And Rena Osborne was born in 1977. Remember, Sam? Yeah, so now you juggled 2 kids, a house, a store, and you could care less about getting a master's in education. You better drink it up. Smoke some weed before you flip out. Our house was a tiny 800 square foot property on an acre of land. After an Indiana ice storm, one of our trees split in 2. Gesualdo, let's build our dream house right here. We already own the land. We could rent out the little house. Let's do it, Joyce. I'd like to build a solar house if we can. Gesualdo's artist brother Jan designed attractive solar collectors, and his family sheet metal business fabricated them. Your little family moved into your new 2,400 square foot house, where Gesualdo's father sent the family heirloom, the Steinway grand piano. Yeah, you barely moved into that joint when Gesualdo joined your brother's band called Your Parents. They were rehearsing in the living room and they immediately took over the joint. Your brother played the drums, and they had a guitar player, Andy, who wrote killer songs, but their vocals were weak. Gesualdo, will you ask him if I can sing? It's not my band, Joyce. I'm not really comfortable asking them. One night, the band was rehearsing in our living room. I hung out in the family room when all of a sudden I heard the guitar player yell at me, "Waitress, bring me another beer!" That son of a bitch! Why didn't Gesualdo tell him to shut his pie hole? Exactly, Sam. I ran upstairs. I made a phone call to this guy, Matt, who just moved to town, and I offered to go over and help him unpack. I drove like a demon across town to get to him. Oh, Joyce, you spent 2 hours happily helping Matt settle in before you finally exploded. This young man you barely knew allowed you to vent about not feeling heard in your own home. The next day, I pulled Gesualdo aside. We're in trouble, Gesualdo. I finally figured out why people get divorced. There's something really seductive about telling a total stranger all your boring shit and having them find you fascinating. The person that you're married to has heard all your crap. That was the beginning of our marriage troubles. As I turned 30, I was determined that I wanted to be a singer in a band. A Wonderwall employee had a new girlfriend, Bridget, and her band was looking for a singer. Oh, Joyce, it was a wonderful opportunity. They had 3 girls and a guy, and they played fun cover tunes by The Animals and Leslie Gore and the Beatles. Oh yeah, Joyce showed up with a microphone, a mic stand, and some beer. She could also sing, so they hired her ass. We fought almost immediately. The band didn't think they were ready to play. I just thought they were afraid, and I pushed them to get out there. They finally agreed to let me book us at a club. Oh, Joyce, your band named themselves Lip Service, and they had a raucous premiere at Crazy Al's in Broad Ripple. Oh, the packed house cheered like mad for your little band. And when men came up for autographs, you ladies blotted your lipstick on their napkins. It was delightful. Yeah, well, some people were delighted. 2 days before the next gig, the keyboard player, drummer, and guitarist quit the band. Gesualdo took over on keys, but your brother refused to help out on drums. Oh, the universe led you to the immensely talented Manon on guitar and Jeff on drums. You changed your name to Kix and were immediately invited to open for the Go-Go's at Crazy Al's. Wow. After that show, you learned that there was a band in LA named the Kicks. So you became the obvious and coined that catchy phrase, "Don't overlook the obvious." Opportunity was knocking at your door. Yeah, well, opportunity wasn't the only thing you were looking for the night of that Go-Go show, now was it, Joyce? I made one more critical decision as I turned 30. Gesualdo and I had one more serious talk. Hey, Gesualdo, meet me down in the basement after you're done reading to the kids, okay? I made a screwdriver on the rocks for myself. I grabbed a pot brownie for Gesualdo and waited for him to come down. Hey, Gesualdo, remember that book I'm reading called Open Marriage? Yeah, Joyce. You told me about it. Well, I've decided that I really want to experience being with other men so I can move out and get my own place, or we could try an open marriage. You want to read the book? Joyce, I don't think we really can afford for one of us to move out. We can try the open marriage, I guess. Just brace yourself for whatever midlife crisis I come up with when I'm in my 40s. He went for it, Sam! Oh yeah! Girlfriend opened Pandora's box. That night of the Go-Go show, you ended up boinking your brother's buddy Bennett behind the club. And the next thing anybody knew, Bennett was moving into your house, the girls were sharing a bedroom, and you mostly stopped sleeping with your husband. It was sex, drugs, and rock and roll heaven. Well, except for all the people whose lives were now in turmoil, Gesualdo was also hanging out with a woman, Mary, who left her husband and moved in too. You finally sat your 3- and 6-year-old children down and told them what was happening. Curie, Rena, do you guys have any friends whose parents are divorced? Yes, Mommy. Well, people get divorced because they don't want to be together anymore. Your daddy and I still want to be together, but we also want to get to know some other people. So that's why your dad is with Mary tonight and why I went to see Bruce Springsteen with Bennett last week. We just wanted you girls to know what was happening. Okay, Mommy, can we go play now? Of course. Thanks for understanding, girls. Now, Joyce, asking a 3- and 6-year-old for permission to commit adultery is not sane behavior. As I was twisting my 10-year marriage into a noose around my family's collective neck, my sister was still giving my parents heartburn. She had divorced her first husband, who got custody of their special needs daughter. She had hooked up with some scumbag and had just married that bozo. I figured she'd be happy to hear my update, so I went down to her office one afternoon. Newsflash, Pam! I'm about to take your place at the top of the family shit list. What are you talking about, Joyce? Well, I wrote Mom and Dad a letter and told them that Bennett and Mary are moving in with us. Okay, that's psychotic. I'll be sure not to call or go by until you tell me the coast is clear. I gotta hand it to you, kid. Writing your parents a letter to tell them about your groovy new commune was genius. Way to avoid listening to your mother's shrieking response. I waited a couple of days, and then I called Mom's best friend. Hi, Anita. I was wondering if you'd talk to my mom. Yeah. She told me about your letter telling her about your cockamamie new lifestyle. Was she pissed? I don't know. You tell me. She says she wishes she'd had dogs instead of children. Don't worry about it. She'll calm down eventually. Around this time, my 3-year-old daughter, Rena, started losing a lot of weight. One day, I took Kiri and Rena to play miniature golf. When we arrived, Rena powered down the drink I brought, and after our game, she guzzled another huge glass of water. Just Waldo, do you remember they tested me for diabetes when I was pregnant because my grandmother had it? Well, 2 of the symptoms are weight loss and excessive thirst. Yeah, Joyce, didn't you tell me that your mom was just diagnosed as diabetic? Yes, she's got a machine. She can test blood sugar. Maybe she can test Rena tonight when they babysit. What a miracle. Rena and her grandmother both became diabetic within weeks of each other. Joyce, perhaps now would be a good time to curtail the drinking and the smoking. Tell her, Sam. Well, that's one way of looking at it. You know, Joyce, you and Giswaldo have no clue how to take care of your kid. She needed 3 meals a day and 3 snacks a day and 2 insulin injections every day. Everything had to be weighed, measured, and on time. Your kid would only go into a coma or die if you screwed this up. Oh, no pressure. I say you better drink up and relax while you can. I'm with you, Sam. As we adjusted to Rena's new health issues, the obvious won a battle of the bands sponsored by TRC Studios, where we went to record 2 songs on a 45. When I arrive home late, Joyce, Why Can't It Wait should be the A-side of the record, because Billboard magazine gave it an honorable mention in their songwriting contest. Fantastic, Gesualdo. That'll give us a story to tell when we try to promote the record. How about something more up-tempo for the B-side? Well, Joyce, what about the song S? Oh, excellent choices, guys. An autobiographical duet about your messed up relationship for the A-side, and then a song title that's the sound a snake makes for the B-side. Me likey. You went into the studio as the obvious, but soon became abstractions. At last, you had a finished product you could take to New York to find a professional manager. Yeah, unfortunately, New York led to nothing. Even though I had a meeting with an Atlantic Records rep, what? No music video? A drop of our 45 at the David Letterman show, and my old high school friend Jane Pauley invited me to hang out on the Today Show when I returned from New York. Gesualdo announced that he and his girlfriend Mary were struggling. Joyce, Mary wants to have a baby. She asked me to divorce you and marry her. Would you tell her, Gesualdo? I told her we're staying married. That's still the plan, right? Still my plan. Let me know if you change your mind, Gesualdo. When Mary heard Gesualdo's answer, she left to join the freaking military. It was now 1983. The U.S. economy was in the pits, and people weren't buying much vinyl. Wonderwall was losing money, and we decided it was finally time to close our doors. So I went back to school to get a master's in radio and television. Oh, Joyce, your wacky life was coming unhinged, but all of a sudden the whole place went up in smoke. You're right, Sam. One night, Gesualdo, Bennett, and I were sitting at the dining room table when the overhead light went out. Perhaps the universe was trying to get your attention, Joyce. I went down to the French doors. I looked to the right, and all the neighbors' lights were on. I looked to the left, and there was smoke coming from the corner of our house. You guys, the house is on fire! Gesualdo gathered up all of Rena's diabetes supplies. I grabbed a box of important papers and threw my jewelry on top, and we were outside before the fire trucks arrived. We needed someplace to stay and to rehearse while the house was being repaired. Oh, Joyce, your friend Ricky found a vacant mansion, and the owners agreed to lease it to your insurance company for less than a hotel would be. We went back into the studio during that time to record a new vinyl record with our new bandmates. Record pools around the country told us that their favorite song was a dance song that I co-wrote called Wawa. The owners of the mansion gave us permission to shoot a music video on their property. We shot the video on film so that it qualified for the competition show on MTV called The Basement Tapes. Oh, MTV was thrilled to get your submission. Not. You got a "don't call us, we'll call you" letter in the mail. Oh, yes, Sam, but MTV then called Joyce to say they would be playing the music video immediately. Oh, winners of The Basement Tapes won recording contracts, so this was your best opportunity yet to finally be discovered. You make me dance, baby, why? You make me good, why? When you hold me, baby, why? You know I love you, why? You my boy, Joyce, somebody told you that you needed to rent a phone room, hire some callers, and pay them to speed dial and vote for you like a zillion times. But no, you refused. So you lost, Miss Goody Two-Shoes. Once we moved back into our fire-repaired house, it was obvious Gesualdo and I were not getting back together. Gesualdo moved into his new 900-square-foot room upstairs, and a generous cousin sent a 9-foot harpsichord. And when he played, the music wafted through the house like angels from the heavens. Things were not so heavenly with my boyfriend Bennett and me. I finally asked my friend and confidant Susie if we could meet. Oh, Susie, Bennett goes out almost every night. He gets really drunk, and one night last week he even slept in his car. Do you think he might be an alcoholic? Of course he is, Joyce. Oh, Lordy, he's been living with you for 5 years. Are you really just now figuring this out? Everyone's known this forever. Honestly, Susie, I had no idea. Help me, Flo. Well, Joyce, how would you know? Your mother never even tasted alcohol, and your father mostly drank when he barbecued. You honestly think someone sober would agree to move in with some chick, her husband, and the 2 kids? Earth to Joyce! Of course he was a drunk! Whatever, Sam. So our unraveling took another year. Bennett would go out, stay out late. I couldn't sleep. I'd get up, smoke some dope, gather up all his clothes, put them out on the porch. We'd get back together, and then the cycle would repeat. One day, my sister showed up. Joyce, everybody is sick of you and Bennett going back and forth. Read this stupid book and stop torturing all of us. That was ironic. My sister was the queen of dysfunctional relationships, but that book changed my life forever. It was called Women Who Love Too Much. And the book talked about all these toxic couples who had no business being in relationships but were trying to stay together. It suggested going to Al-Anon, which I'd never heard of. Turns out, it's a program, 12-step program for friends and family of alcoholics. My first sponsor, Vicky, explained, Joyce, we don't recommend making any drastic changes your first year of recovery, unless lives are at risk. You just come to Al-Anon and go to open AA meetings and check in with me, because as your sponsor, I will help you understand and encourage the alcoholic. Understand and encourage him? But Vicky, I just want to know how to make him stop drinking. The only person you can control is yourself, Joyce. Keep coming back. So I did. I went to Al-Anon meetings and checked in with Vicky and finished my schooling. Oh, Joyce, once you graduated Butler and had your master's in hand, the divorce was looming, and you became a communications instructor at the local university. Well, yeah, it was pretty obvious. Joyce better figure out how to support herself, because Wonderwall was closed and the band was usually paying to play. Just Waldo, let's shoot another music video to the Rolling Stones song on our Check It Out EP. Let's do it, Joyce. We'll have to buy the video rights from the Stones first. I think we should also re-record the record. We're going to need about $80,000. My sister helped me write the mandatory business plan for the freaking Venture Capital Club of Indiana. This was pre-Shark Tank, so venture capitalists were not all that readily accessible. It took us 300 hours, but we bloody pulled it off. And that plan got me invited to meet with investors to ask for the money. Oh, admit it, Joyce. Pam was a badass on the computer. Also, give her credit for divorcing that creepy second husband. Indeed, Sam. Joyce's business plan project gave Pam a welcome distraction when the nasty husband left. Joyce and Pam were supporting each other through their transitions. And the Venture Capital Club invited only 3 presenters per month, but Joyce was one of them. Gesualdo and I were now divorced, amicably. He had moved out, and my sister and niece Dawn had moved in with the girls Bennett and me. Gesualdo and I went to that venture capital meeting, but even after all that work, we walked away with zip. Now, Joyce, you did get a standing ovation when they saw the Wawa video. Yeah, right. Take that stupid applause to the bank, Joyce. With my dreams for a second music video collapsed, I made other plans. Bennett and I were engaged. But during our years together, he had punched a hole in the dining room and one in the garage. He had even smashed the windshield of his own car one night when he had a jack attack after drinking Jack Daniels. My sponsor, Vicky, finally helped me cancel that wedding. You need to think about your children, Joyce. If Bennett can get sober and stay sober for a year, maybe you can reconsider. Oh, Vicky, I know you're right. I went ahead and bought the beautiful wedding dress. I really love Bennett, and I hope we can work things out. You just keep working your recovery program and see what God has in store for you. Bennett and I did not work things out. My sister got her own place. I put that dream house on the market. I moved in with my parents and finally made plans to move to LA to become a working actress. Bennett refused to leave Indiana. And then my kids made the devastating announcement that they too were staying behind. Kiri was now 16, and she explained, I don't know, Mom. Maybe I'll move to California when I'm in college, but I want to finish high school at Warren Central. Oh my God, Vicky! The girls want to stay back in Indiana with Gesualdo. You know, Joyce, you kids have had a pretty miserable time with you and all your nonsense. Maybe they just want a break from you and all your shenanigans. You look for a new sponsor when you get to California. You'll be fine. Truthfully, Vicky kind of hurt my feelings because she was basically saying that the kids were sick of my shit. I was now 40 years old, and I wanted to make sure that the kids and I were okay before I split. Kiri and I spent a week at Myrtle Beach for some one-on-one time. My parents packed up all my belongings in our cars, and they drove with me out west. We stopped in New Mexico, where Rena was attending Gesualdo's old summer camp, so she and I had a final farewell too. I had left all my booze back in Indiana, and my plan was I wouldn't look for a drug dealer when I got out west. But by the time I reached Ontario, California, where I was going to be staying with a college friend, I was pretty antsy. Well, yes, Joyce, but the minute Mom and Dad left, you found Narcotics Anonymous in the phone book, and next thing anyone knew, NAAA and Al-Anon meetings were part of your daily routine, right, Sam? Oh, yeah. Joyce would have a cocktail with dinner and then go to a meeting. It was freaking precious. Well, Sam, I didn't want to give anybody an excuse to critique my acting because I showed up someplace loaded. Well, then why'd you keep drinking, goofball? I was a periodic drunk, Sam. I didn't really get the relationship between daily pot smoking and alcoholism. One night after an NA meeting, a guy, Robbie, asked me to go for coffee. Joyce, you and your little pot problem. You can't keep coming to our meetings with booze on your breath. If we drink again, we're back slamming heroin or smoking crack. Come back when you get a real drug. By rights, Robbie should not have said that to Joyce. The only requirement for membership in AA or NA is a desire to stop drinking or using. But Robbie actually helped Joyce, right, Sam? Oh, yeah. Joyce went to hang out with some college friends in Temecula, and she told them she wasn't drinking. I was surprised. Nobody insisted that I take a drink. Then I remembered. They all had pictures of drunk Joyce from years of air guitar parties. My Purdue Pike fraternity friends had an annual New Year's air guitar competition with traveling trophy. That weekend with my air guitar college friends was the start of my sobriety, August 20th, 1990. Oh yeah, that was also the start of Joyce's new sexless life, right? They told you you shouldn't date your first year of recovery, but you mostly didn't date for your first 8 years. What the hell? Oh, Sam, Joyce needed to learn to live alone. Plus, she became very productive because she wasn't smoking dope every day. I stayed with my friend Margine in Ontario for the first 5 months. I drove 75 miles to study with the legendary acting coach, Jeff Corey. I became a film and television extra. I joined AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, and then the Screen Actors Guild, or SAG. You also became a high school substitute teacher. Yeah. How weird is that? Joyce's kids stay back in Indiana, and she spent every day hanging out with other people's kids. God had a funny sense of humor with that one. Speaking of God, Sam, I was told that I needed to find some kind of higher power that would keep me clean and sober, and that I'm an addict and I'm a stoner and a drunk because I'm alcoholic, not because I'm a Pisces. I smoked that first joint when I was 20 years old. Now I was 40 and finally finished with that part of my life. Then I went to a SAG seminar where they said that only 8% of all jobs went to women in their 40s. Oh, Joyce, with those terrible odds, why not become a full-time teacher? Let me explain. There are very few acting jobs, but many people who want them. There is an abundance of special educator jobs, but few people qualify to do them. It meant going back for yet another teaching credential. But by golly, Sam, Joyce did it. Yeah, well, she's lucky she stayed sober through that crap. But those kids where she substituted were out of control. So she definitely needed somebody to tell her how to keep them from killing each other, or her. Miracle of miracles, Sam. Joyce proved to be a skillful special educator who worked for the Los Angeles Unified School District for 23 years. Yeah, well, the girl got sober and had no life, so why the hell not? Sadly, Sam, you're kind of right. I just wanted to do something useful rather than sit around on a have a pity party waiting for acting jobs to come. In 1992, I got a phone call from my mom. Joyce, your sister had a heart attack. She's having open heart surgery tomorrow. The doctor said her arteries twist, and if she smokes again, she'll die. But Mom, Pam's only 44 years old. Your sister has been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, every day since she was a teenager. Cigarettes are also the reason your father has his heart problems. Thanks for letting me know, Mom. I love you. My sister survived that heart attack. She went back to work. She continued smoking. Oh, Joyce, when you were 3 years sober, Rena moved to California for high school, and after graduation, headed back to Purdue.
Yeah, and Curie graduated from Indiana University and then came back to California. The girls did the old switcheroo.
In 1997, I switched up my home group. In AA, that's the meeting where you show up every week. My new sponsor, Sandy, explained how to meet people in this huge group. Go to all the weekend events, Joyce. I'll see you at the baby shower on Sunday. But Sandy, I don't even know these people. Contribute to the group gift and sign your card, Joyce, new to the group. I did what Sandy said, and once again, my life forever changed. Hoo-hoo! There were men at this baby shower! Woo! One cute as hell guy grabbed a sofa to move it. I grabbed the other end of it, and we sat down on opposite ends and introduced ourselves. Oh, Joyce, that enchanting moment. He said his name was Paul, and he was completing his MBA. After 6 months of flirting, he finally asked you out. It was a whirlwind romance, after all. We were both grown-ups, and we'd been through plenty of relationships.
Well, one of you was a little more grown up than the other. Or should we say older? Paul's 12 years younger than you, you little cradle robber.
Oh, Sam, who cares? Paul had more sobriety than Joyce, and both his mother and grandmother had chosen much younger final loves. After 1.5 years of dating, Joyce and Paul tied the knot. We had a quickie 3-week engagement. My parents were out here visiting. My brother had also moved to LA with his wife Joanne. And, hey, I already had a wedding gown from that Bennett engagement 10 years earlier. Oh, another elegant wedding, Joyce. Kiri and Rena sang at the ceremony, but you and Paul also sang an Everly Brothers duet.
So never leave me lonely. Tell me you love me only, and that you'll always let it be me.
Of course, I continued working after the marriage. I was also volunteering for drug and alcohol impact groups with students who had substance abuse problems. Oh, Joyce, life as a newlywed was sublime. But life is still life, and now there were new challenges. In 2000, Mother was diagnosed with tongue cancer. Dad had a massive heart attack, and he could no longer drive or take care of their beloved Indiana home. Thankfully, Joyce, you were able to go back, pack pack up Mom and Dad, put their house on the market, and move them to LA. My parents were staying in Paul's and my guest bedroom the morning we saw the planes hit the Twin Towers on September 11th. That day, I was particularly grateful that I had become an educator. My students arrived worried, upset, and full of questions. And I wondered if I would have felt the same satisfaction if I had been a working actor. 8 months after my parents moved out here, my sister had her final heart attack. So my brother and I took our parents back to Indiana to say goodbye, and we unhooked the machines that were keeping our 53-year-old sister alive. I became my 35-year-old niece's conservator and eventually moved her here as well. Oh, Joyce. But then there was more family joy in 2003. You're right, Flo. Rena graduated from Purdue and was finally living back in California. Yay! She and her love, Tony, were married at Lake Arrowhead, where Mom and Dad danced at the reception. Just 2 years later, Dad passed. My daughter, Kiri, was now teaching high school full-time. Oh, Joyce, 3 years after you lost your father, you celebrated Mom's birthday in Hawaii. She turned 80, and you girls surprised her with a hula, and she got to visit with many lifelong friends and family. Kiri had hired former students to interview your mom, so everyone got to see that video at her memorial. Here's what she said about you.
How about my mom?
She was a live wire from the time she was born. She is the most wonderful daughter in the world. She's so sweet.
Now wait a minute. Isn't this the same person who said she wished she'd had dogs instead of children? That's quite a comeback, kid.
Actually, Sam, it's the result of getting sober and staying sober. My mom has been gone 11 years now. Rena and Tony live in Sydney, Australia, where they moved after they lost custody of a foster baby they were hoping to adopt. The addict mother of that baby lied about who the father was. And the day the judge ordered my kids to give that baby to the newly discovered grandmother, I really wanted to get loaded. Instead, I drove back to the school where I had one of those drug and alcohol groups waiting for me. And I was able to show those kids through my example that alcoholics don't have to drink or get loaded, even when life is painful or difficult. No choice. But then, in 2013, you and Paul got a new baby girl. Kiri and her partner had a beautiful granddaughter. Anais was born just as Rena and Tony lost custody of that other baby. I had just retired, so for her first year and a half of life, I was able to babysit my granddaughter 3 days a week. Paul and I just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We have been blessed to travel around the world, and we've been to AA meetings in Australia and Bali and Paris.
Oh, don't act like life is all roses and lollipops, Joyce. You had some pretty crappy moments last year.
In a minute, Sam. I've been retired 6 years now, and I pursue acting full-time. I've been in many small films and plays, and a couple of additional music videos.
We got a sex tape on VHS. Orthopedic S&M made a hot sloppy mess. Stuck in our player for the last 6 years.
Try to fill up for that ass.
Brought me to cheese.
Classy, right? Even with all the fun, the entertainment business can be brutal. And last year had a devastating disappointment. Oh yeah, Joyce, tell them about that shit show! No, Joyce, do not listen to him. Sam, did you forget about the non-disclosure agreement? Flo's right. A mentor appeared in my life last year. He suggested reading a book from the 30s called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. I read this book for 14 minutes and 59 seconds every day because that's what I was told to do. Rather than losing my sobriety over that failed project, I was able to pivot to this show in hopes that telling you my story would help me heal. Oh, that's where I came in. Joyce. I told Joyce to enter this show in a solo festival before it was even written. Keep pushing, girl. Oh, Joyce, don't forget to tell them about the abstraction songs. Exactly. My son-in-law posted the Wah Wah video on Facebook last year. Producers of a short film set in the 80s plan to use 5 of the abstraction songs 34 years after we wrote and recorded them. Who knows what's next? I still listen when Sam has a good idea, but mostly I let Flo take the lead. Today I live in positive action for the pursuit of my dreams, in hopes that I bring something worthwhile to the world. These are the principles I try to live by now. And I made bookmarks for all of you, so help yourself on the way out. Thank you so much for being here.